Hello, laddies and joims, as they say in Ireland. This is Patricia Angelin's voice, and you are at All the Feels with Alba technique. Let me turn this camera around, and we can encounter each other. There we are. Hello, and thank you so much for welcoming me as I welcome you. I did have an interesting question, which I will propose in a moment. And if you have any comments on it, I would be very grateful to have them, as would the friend who actually asked the question, I'm sure. Here in New York, we are just after the autumnal equinox, and the weather has finally begun to change. Weather in New York, global warming notwithstanding, is getting the memo that this is fall and it can start getting cooler, which for some people is, they have a feeling that, oh, the days are drawing in, I don't like that, and it'll stop being warm. Whereas with me, my feelings are, yay, I'm so glad I get to go out of my house. I get to take brisk walks. It's all good. I get to do things again. So all of our feels, we can never assume that somebody else has the same feelings that we do on pretty much anything under the sun. And that's okay. I've also noticed, as speaking to a couple of other people, they have as well, that whether you're under the equator and it's the spring equinox for you or the autumn equinox for you up above the equator like it is here, allergies of one kind or another, itchy noses, itchy eyes, sinuses, headaches, stiffness for some people. Well, change is constant. And the only thing constant, it has been said, is change. So c'est la vie, that is life. The question that was asked of me is by a very, very dear friend. And the friend was contacted by a family member in a different part of the country. And this family member offered her a gift item. Now, my friend is very connected to justice internally. And some people are and some people aren't. I am not. It is not one of my favored ways internally, psychologically, of dealing with life. I've always been able to accept that life is not fair and that justice is God's alone, although we all have to work for it, of course. But my dear, dear friend has an internal, anger about real or perceived, and mostly in her case, real injustices. So this family member has offered her a small thing that has been in the household of the family member for quite a while. And it's just a little small thing. So it's not a thing that has innate monetary value or even necessarily sentimental value that has been offered to my friend. And the question of my friend was, how do I respond to this gift, which is a loaded gift? How do I respond to a gift from someone I cannot get out of my life, with whom there's a bad track record, if I am offered a gift? And I feel as though the person offering me this gift is offering me a snake or a scorpion, but presenting it, in biblical terms, as though it's a fish or a loaf of bread. And so this was yesterday, and I thought, that is a very interesting question, because she is feeling as though she wants to, as my mother would have said, spit in the person's eye, refuse the gift, because she feels and judges, and perhaps rightly so, that if she is gracious and accepts the gift that is proffered, that there will be negative consequences down the line, that this particular family member of hers will, look at it internally as, look how generous I am, and look how much I have done for you, and look what I gave to you, and then aggrandize it into giving her a lot more than she's actually giving her. And also, she doesn't really want the thing. my friend, that is. She doesn't really run the thing. And the family member offering it, it's not out of generosity that she's offering something that might even hurt a little bit for that person to give it up, to somebody who might want it more. So it appears to be generosity, but that cloaks narcissistic potential manipulation down the line. So she asked me, what do I do? I said, how are you feeling about it? Disgruntled. Great word, disgruntled. So my response to my dear friend on this all the feels is the same as I told her yesterday, even though after I've thought about it a little bit, is that don't answer at all until you are sufficiently emotionally detached to do what is yours to do. And this particular friend is quite a gracious person. She is one of those people who, she's a magnificent hostess. Everybody wants to go to her parties. Everybody wants to go to her home. So she has a basic Southern gentility in her that goes to absolutely every person she meets and comes into her home. So I said, if you're able to get to the point where you can accept it in the spirit in which it ought to be meant, then you're good. Accept the gift and simply say, thank you. Simple, clean, no fuss. And don't let your mind go off on all kinds of tangents about what the giver is thinking, what she might do, where she might. That's what emotional detachment means in the positive sense. So my dear friend who is feeling disgruntled, once you're able to do a little bit of an emotional detach, accept the gift in the spirit that it would be meant if the giver was healthy. Because this is not a person that she can get out of her life and will have to have an ongoing relationship with until one of the two of them dies, there's nothing to be gained by refusing it or going into a song and dance about why she doesn't need it and doesn't want it. It's offered when you can say, that would be lovely, thank you, or yes, please, or sure, do it. So that is what I have to say to you on all the feels. If you're feeling disgruntled, give it a day, 2, 3, until you're emotionally detached enough to really look at the situation and at the person and see what is best, highest, most good with a capital G for you to do. And then don't worry about what the person offering it has withheld from you in the past, or think about what the person is going to withhold from you in the future that you actually really do want. These are lives. These are our lives. These are the days of our lives. So, at all the feels, I'm Patricia Angelin. Be well, be kind to yourself. And as a dear friend of mine, now gone to her eternal reward, used to say, my darling, cherish yourself. Cherish yourself, my darlings. Thank you for joining me on all the feels. And as always, we turn the camera around and you get to see the beauty of the 3 candles, the painted rock, the Moroccan silk carpet, books containing intellectual attainment over centuries and centuries, and beautiful lilies from Holly's Roses on 28th Street in Manhattan. Bless you all, and thank you for joining me on All the Feels. I'm Patricia Angelin of Alba Technique.